Welcome to The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. Host Randy Chevrier and Sheldon Napashka guide you through great stories that spark great conversations. Two really big guys talking a big game. The boys are locked in and ready to go. Welcome to The Ride.
Welcome to The Ride, everybody. It's episode 51. Randy, how are you feeling tonight?
I am doing awesome, Sheldon. I am so excited for tonight. I'm excited for this entire week, but especially been excited for the show tonight, the 51st episode. Alondra Johnson, your former teammate, Hall of Famer. I believe you had 14 years. Was it 14 years as a Stampeder?
Yeah, some insane, ungodly number. But yeah, we got a bunch of good stuff lined up for you guys tonight. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, YYC Calgary Business, Performance Freight Management, and of course, We Drone Real Estate Media. Where do you want to start off, Chef?
Well, let's start off with telling the folks what's in store for the night. We got a great episode tonight. We are going to be welcoming a good friend, Rob Kerr. We put that on the social media. So our good friend, Rob Kerr, we're going to have him on in the second segment. We have a big announcement, a big announcement that we're going to get to shortly. Talk a little bit about Chick-Fil-A opened up in Calgary. And well, Trey was the only one of the three of us that got to go. So he'll give his review. The Blitz, CFL playoffs, how do we do? And going into Grey Cup weekend, studs and duds. Movies that don't need sequels. And of course, Sheldon, as we do every week, we are going to kick this off in style with a little bit of 300-pound poetry.
And now, 300-pound poetry with Chevy and Nasty.
We are the 300-pound poets. Our rhymes aim to deliver. When we walk into the buffet, you can feel the place quiver.
We've got a great show, as we feel we do most Tuesday nights. We're welcoming our great friend, Rob Kerr, and we're talking football and fights.
And there are lineups for Chick-Fil-A. Can their food be that good? Or has it just become an overhyped U.S. restaurant that opened up in our Calgary hood?
Jake Paul represents the new. Mike Tyson represents the old. Some think Paul can go the distance, and others believe he'll get knocked out cold.
And we've got a huge announcement. This is the excellence of execution. We're going live on Grey Cup Sunday. And could this be the next step in our evolution?
Could be. We're glad you could join us for another wild ride this week. This is our 51st consecutive live episode, and that is quite a commendable streak. If I do say so myself, Nasty, that's a great streak. We're going to get to our big announcement in a second, but want to welcome all of you that are joining us. We got Rubio, we got Bruno, Daryl, Jamin. You guys know that we're live every week on the Chevy and Nasty YouTube page, Facebook page. We're so happy you can join us, and we are excited because this weekend, Sheldon, not only are we doing our show like we're doing tonight, it's Grey Cup. We're excited. We got a crazy half harebrained idea that we decided we were going to go live, not just from any place, not just from the comfort of our living rooms, but we are going to do a live show, you and me, in person, face to face.
Yep.
In a very special location. None other than the best there was, the best there is, the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart's Bar and Restaurant. We will be live Sunday from 12 till 2 doing the Grey Cup pregame show. You can find it here live on all our streaming, but you can come and meet us. We want you to come down. It's going to be a full day of Grey Cup party with our show, then the pregame of the CFL's Grey Cup, and then obviously the Grey Cup and the excellence of execution. Bret the Hitman Hart is showing up himself. Sheldon, you excited?
Oh, very excited. So excited. And this came together so fast. And first off, I just wanted to say thanks, Randy and Trey, for setting this up. And Bret, for making this thing happen for us. Brother, I'll tell you, this was so exciting. We've been wanting to do another live event. We did the movie hall in Cochrane, which was awesome, but we didn't get to stream from there. Now we get to go down to Hitman's Bar, stream for 2 hours, and then he's going to be there with us, guys. So we're going to be sending out more of this on our socials as the week goes on, setting up an event. But this is an awesome opportunity if you don't already have plans for Grey Cup. And of course, you don't have plans this cool for Grey Cup. So come on down, join us at Hitman's Bar, catch the show, stick around for some food, a chance to hang out, meet the Hitman. We've got a bunch of Stampeders coming along as well. We don't have the full lineup confirmed, or maybe we do. Chevy, you can keep me posted on that. But guys, this is going to be awesome. Like, this is going to be awesome.
I'm excited, Sheldon. As you can see, I've got my Hitman jersey. That's my, the Calgary Hitman, named after Bret the Hitman Hart. I've got a pair of signed autograph Hitman shades from the Hitman himself. These are bona fide shades. His autograph's up there somewhere in the corner. I got my little Hitman right up on the top over my shoulder. I'm an idol. He's my idol. He's also a friend of mine. Last week, I was, it was right after the show. I saw the Hitman Bar announce the Excellence of Execution going to be there. And I was like, guys, actually, I don't even think I told you guys. I just asked Bret. I said, Bret, do you think your guys would like us at the bar? And he said, well, I think that's a great idea. Now, he doesn't run the bar. They've got his name.
He's a name on the side. He's
attached,
and,
but he doesn't run the thing like that. So he had to clear it with his manager, Jamal. We've been on that, man. We've been working the lines, all of us, all week to put this thing together. Like you said, we're still finalizing the roster. We got Aaron Crawford, Calgary Stampeders long snapper, showing up. He's on the poster. He's bringing some friends, asking a couple of alumni. We want you guys to show up if you're in town and you don't have plans, even if you have plans for the game. Even if you're going to do something during the game, come from 12 to 2. The bar opens from 12 to 2. Come and hang out with us. We're gonna assign some autographs. We'll bring our jerseys, bring the Grey Cup rings. Got some Stampeders. Great food, great drink. The Hitman Bar was so gracious and so on board with this, and this could lead to some great things. As you said in the poem, could this be the next step in our evolution? I sure hope so, Sheldon.
Well, and that's just it. And like you said, like Bret's become a friend of yours. You guys have done a lot of work with the Pink Power and different initiatives over your years in Calgary. But you know what? Sometimes we forget just what a worldwide phenomenon and star he was. Because obviously in this one, it's, guys, when you're setting up, you guys that's stuck with us from the beginning. Remember how Chevy and I started, how hard it was to figure things out. Well, now we're going live, multiple cameras, potentially. So we had to reach out to our network and see who all would get behind this. And I was so happy to say Kurt Patio, my friend and my wife's cousin from Regina, was like, oh my God, I need to be involved. The first thing he did is said, let me know what I can sponsor. I'm going to get behind this. Second of all, I've got a family event on Saturday night, but Sunday morning after they leave my house, I'm flying up to Calgary to meet the Hitman. And you know what he's bringing with him, Chev? You've got your autographed glasses. Kurt Patio, for his birthday, his wife got him replica WWE heavyweight belt. And he's planning to bring that to get signed. He just got that this summer. I mean,
so he's excited.
Look at guys our age, guys 40 to 60 that were watching wrestling back then. Bret the Hitman Hart was one of the biggest names, the biggest stories, the biggest stars in professional wrestling. And it's just awesome to be able to do an event with him.
And we're kicking off the Grey Cup party at his bar. What a great, this is a big opportunity for us. I'm not going to lie. It's a big opportunity. You know what else is a worldwide phenomenon, Sheldon? Chick-Fil-A.
What's that? Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
For sure. Yeah.
Chick-fil-A. So here I am. I hear all about this Chick-fil-A. Trey talked about it. You talked about it. My son told me he couldn't get in. My son was telling me last week when they opened, the first 100 customers would get food for life. I tried to go today for lunch, Sheldon. It was like Disneyland when you go to the most popular ride at Disneyland and there's a snaking row of people, but it wasn't a snaking row of people. It was a snaking row of cars. They had 30 security guards there with batons waving people in like 2x2 cars rolling through 2 commercial sized lots because of the amount of car traffic and foot traffic blocking. Like, I couldn't believe what I saw. Now, I couldn't get a sandwich. I went there, I took some pictures. I didn't get a chance to go in because when I saw the foot traffic line, it was ridiculous. You made an attempt. You didn't get in.
Well, when you told me, and I called you to ask, Chev, do you have any strategies to make this happen? You're like, dude, it's every man for himself. Just listen to the security guards. And I was like, okay, Chev, you went at lunch. I wasn't going until 3 o'clock. I was picking my kid up after school. It was the same thing. I managed to pull in you can't pull into the lot. Obviously it was 2 packs. So you had to drive past, I think it was sleep country. And at the far end of that, they'll let you in sort of between the other two more industrial buildings, and you got to weave your way around. And we just got there. There was no way you couldn't tell the difference between where you could park to, because everybody was in a running vehicle. It was madness. It was madness. And I was so excited about it because we're big chicken guys. We like our chicken sandwiches. We're so excited today to pick these up and eat them. But, you know, we had to make the call. It's going to have to wait. Is it as good as they say? I don't know.
So, well, listen, Trey had a chance to eat it. We want to make sure that we understand, is this sandwich worth it? Trey, can you just pop on the screen? Let us know, because we got to move along. We got lots going on. Trey, give us your 30-second review of the sandwich before we move on.
I could give you a even quicker review. Better than Popeyes.
Okay.
Sauce is to die for. The sandwich was to die for. The drink, they call it a Sunjoy. It's the sweet tea, like the American iced tea with the lemonade, half and half, to die for. I understand the hype, and I was on board. The price was no different than any other restaurant you go to nowadays. So 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, 10 out of 10. It was worth the hype for me.
I want to keep you on for one more second because I got a question for you. You can also famously customize your order. Did you get the plain chicken sandwich? Did you get the spicy? Did you get the ultimate with the veggies? Did you just throw on a slice of cheese? Like, what's your order there?
The spicy deluxe sandwich. So like spicy chicken with the lettuce, tomato, cheese, and then I got a couple Chick-Fil-A sauces and dumped them on.
Which sauces?
The waffle fries. I'm just a Chick-Fil-A. I was
sauce?
all for the Chick-Fil-A sauce. One of my buddies got the Polynesian sauce, and it was good too. But yeah, the Chick-Fil-A sauce, we went there for the sauce, and it lived up to the hype. So
well, listen, I'm with Rubio on this, and you know, no matter how tasty a sandwich can be, thanks Trey. No matter how tasty a sandwich can be, it's not worth more than a 10-minute wait. You know, like, it might be great, it might be good, but if you got to wait 40 to 50 minutes for a sandwich, you're nuts. There was a Burger King A&W across the street. I would put a pop-up burger up against that sandwich, and the convenience any day of the week. I haven't had it yet, so maybe I'm speaking a little too soon, but there is no sandwich that is worth a 45-minute wait in that chaos. It was chaos. There was more security. There was more security there than there was when Trump was speaking. It was in Pennsylvania when they shot at him.
Yeah.
There was more security for a chicken sandwich. It was ridiculous.
In fact, I might have spotted snipers on the roof across the street, but it's something though. But you know what? I'll tell you. To me, it's not just a sandwich. I mean, I can't believe they used to have in the airport here in Calgary, right? Yeah. But this isn't one of the places I've ever gone to in another city. I never started getting into the craze until, I guess, the media starts filling you with it. And you hear it's the best of the chicken sandwiches, which for me, I've got Popeyes up there. I think the Mary Brown spicy chicken sandwich is even better. But like Trey said, if this is that good, if it's right up there and maybe better, is it worth the wait? I don't know. I'm glad I went to see it because it was a spectacle to behold, but I think I'm going to wait a couple of weeks for this to die down.
Yeah, it's like a great movie. I mean, I like being the first guy at a movie theater, but I also don't mind waiting if I got to wait or, you know, sit behind a bunch of people. Like, if I could get a fast pass in, then I'll go have it when it starts. But
I checked to see if you could order online or Uber Eats, and you can't do any of that. They want to keep it exclusive.
Yeah, and there'll be another one. There'll be another one that opens up. But you know what is worth the wait, Sheldon? You know what is worth the wait? We thought it was going to hit this summer. Netflix special. We mentioned in the poem, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. It got postponed. It was supposed to happen in July. Then Mike Tyson had an ulcer flare up that forced him to postpone the fight. It kind of snuck up on us, but it's this Friday. This Friday, live on Netflix. I believe it's 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think there's one undercard. But Sheldon, I watched episode 1 of the documentary last night because I guess it really did sneak up on me. And Trey kind of reminded us, man, after watching just one episode of the documentary where they kind of talk about where Mike Tyson came from and Jake Paul came from, I am excited for this. Are you excited to watch this event?
I am, you know, and I was before, then I forgot, and now I am again. I watched the first 2 episodes. So like I'm almost binging this right now and can't wait. We're probably going to set up a Friday night watch party here. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, there's no doubt. Jake Paul, I always knew, was just like, you know, kind of the jerk, loudmouth kid that took over YouTube back in the day. But I'll tell you what, watching this, he's a serious athlete. He has dedicated his life to the sport. He's trained hard. He's beaten a lot of really skilled fighters, but he's yet to take on and beat a boxer.
Yeah. The co-main event here is between two of the greatest women's boxers in the world, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. They talked about that yesterday in the documentary.
Rematch.
But listen, we could talk about this all we want. It's going to happen Friday. I'm going to watch the other two documentaries this week while we prepare for our live Grey Cup episode at Hitman's Bar. But Sheldon, the question is this. It all boils down to this. Jake Paul's been running his mouth. Jake Paul has been, he's younger for sure. He's been having these boxing matches, these amateur / pro boxing matches. He fought a couple of ex-MMA guys, maybe a former pro boxer. Listen, the question is, does Jake Paul even have a chance, or is Mike Tyson washed up and Jake Paul is going to go the distance? What do you think? Because that's all people want to know.
Okay, first off, Mike Tyson is not washed up. I mean, right. He's in the prime of his life as far as a 58-year-old could be, and he's training for this thing. When this thing first got announced, I was like, come on, man. Like, I can tell you the difference between when I was 30 and 32 in how my body can move and things like that. But I've thrown myself into the mind of an ex-athlete, and I would watch his training. He's so dialed in. It's all been coming back to him. He's not going to execute at the high level that he used to. But you know what? Jake Paul has only been in the sport for 4 years. He's an amazing athlete. He's an amazing athlete, but he's not trained. He's not pro. And Chev, there's a big difference between amateur and pro. And there's a big difference between a guy that got hungry and went after to become a fighter versus a Mike Tyson who he was born a killer.
He was born a killer. Trey says it here. And this is what this fight points out. There's a whole generation that doesn't understand the animal that Mike Tyson was. I mean, they showed some of his knockouts just in the documentary, and you're like, oh, shoot, this dude was a bad man. Jake Paul is not a bad man. Jake Paul's fights were put together so that he would be successful. They're for hype. But Trey never witnessed Mike Tyson in his prime when he was 18 years old, killing grown-ass men. And Trey is one of those guys that think Mike won't last with Jake Paul, the young Jake Paul. But what Trey doesn't understand is Mike does not have to last. He has to land that one punch that will send Jake Paul into yesterday. And he's going to open up with a body. He's going to open it up with a body punch that he's never felt before. And Jake Paul's going to be countered in a way that he hasn't even seen. He can't even practice in training. It's just, just like Daryl says, you ever watch those movies where there's the old guy at the bar and he doesn't want to mess with anyone. Then the young punks come in, they challenge him. And, he looks like he's old. He looks like he's washed up, worn out, a little drunk, a little rough around the edges. And then all of a sudden they challenge him, and then they wake him up, and he destroys them. You've seen that in every movie, and you're going to see it Friday night. That's what I think. I don't believe the youth know what they're in for when they're pulling for Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is ferocious. He never lost a step. You see his training videos. It sure is going to be a great spectacle. I'm excited for it, but I think at the end, Mike Tyson's going to show us what the 80s were all about. And it's going to be a must-see for sure, Chev. And I honestly, I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to see it. But guys, we're going to take a quick break right now. Make sure, as always, you guys check us out on our socials. If you're not already subscribed, just hit the subscribe button. But even hit a few likes here. And if you're up for it, guys, hit the share button. We're trying to grow this community here. But yeah, now it's time. Grab a quick snack. When we come back, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Rob Kerr.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Welcome back to the ride with Chevy and Nasty. We're on live every Tuesday night from 10:30 p.m. onward. I mean, usually we finish by midnight, but you never know. We always got some overtime. We also had our big announcement tonight. We are going to be live and in person from the Hitman's Bar this Sunday, November 17th for the Grey Cup pregame show. And that will run, our show will run from 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to 2 p.m. Then it's going to lead right into the CFL's pregame coverage and then right into the game. And the man, the myth, the legend himself is going to be there, Bret the Hitman Hart. We're going to be joined by Aaron Crawford and a host of Stampeder friends, trying to line up some other guests between now and Sunday. It's going to be a great event. If you haven't been to the Hitman's Bar, it's inside the Cowboys Casino. It is adults only, so you got to be 18 and over. But even if you have plans for the game, come from 12 till 2. Come and hang out. Get an autograph from some Stampeders. Come and shake our hand. We want to shake your hand. All of you out there, thank you for joining us. We have a loyal following. All the people out there from Ernie to Diane to Todd to Bruno, Daryl. We even have Rubio there and Jamin. So many people tune in live and then download us. But, the one guy that tunes in almost every week, a good buddy of ours, I was kind of surprised, Sheldon. I looked in this morning and they released the list of the 25 sexiest bald men in the world. And on that list, number one was Prince William, British royalty. In the top 10, there was Vin Diesel, which I could see that. Sure. I think Jason Statham. He's a sexy bald man.
Is The Rock in there?
The Rock is number 2. Yep, Danny DeVito made the top 10, but you know who didn't make the top 10? And I'm quite surprised that he didn't beat out Danny DeVito. You know who didn't make it?
Who didn't make it?
Chris Rubio. Rubio. Rubio, of all the sexy bald men in the world, how come?
Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that.
Like, if I'm looking at the sexy bald men here,
it's a number 3 at least.
You know what? I would say Rock is number 1. I think Chris Rubio can leapfrog the Prince there, and definitely above. Yeah, but Danny DeVito, I mean, he's got hair. He makes it work. But my gosh, we don't give any love to Chris Rubio, one of the sexiest bald men I know with the yellow shirt. Chris, you got robbed. But Sheldon, moving on. We're not having Chris to talk about his baldness, but we are going to have our good friend, Rob Kerr, legend in Calgary broadcasting, legend in the Calgary community, does so much. Not only does he have a full head of hair, he's got a full beard. Rob, welcome to the ride with Chevy and Nasty. Oh, there's a note from Trey. It says,
so you're cutting out, but there is no Rob Kerr. Are we getting another Jesse Lumsden experience here? I'm wondering.
Yeah, well, Trey will follow up with Rob. As Trey, Rob is here. Trey, you got to put Rob on the show. He's not here. Oh, there he is.
It just chases me. It doesn't matter. I'm in the business. I'm out of the business. But for some reason, my big feet keep kicking plugs out. And here we are. I delay my debut on what's this thing called? The Chevy Nasty Bicycle.
The Ride.
The Ride, right. The Ride. Okay.
We've evolved.
For a minute, I thought it was Guy Fieri's, dives, pizza barns, and udders.
That's coming next.
We were talking about chickens and stuff like that, but here we are. Yeah, Chevy, you are cutting out. It's terrible. I got to be honest with you. For a man who spent so much time and so much paper giving me a colonoscopy to come on this show, the least you could do, the minimum you could do, is make sure that you have quality internet. That's all I ask. If I'm going to stay up 4 hours past my bedtime, the least you can do is make sure your technology works. Unbelievable.
Unfortunately,
I love it. This is a legendary take by Rob Kerr. You just got cussed out by Rob Kerr.
As he should.
You know what?
You know what? To come on this program, I had to endure 1,232 texts.
Okay, here you go. This is it. Live television. You guys talk. I'm going to tell off my kids because I'm going to tell my kids off because I need internet now. I'm embarrassed. I'm
yes,
Sheldon.
Well,
welcome into the show. Tell our listeners about it.
I'm sure they're making TikTok videos and the YouTubes and stuff like that. And here we are. We finally got rid of him. That's all it took.
There you go.
So we just needed to get after him about his Wi-Fi capabilities, and he'd leave.
Yeah, there you go. Rob, I'll tell you what. Every time, and I've run into you a few times over the years, but here's the number one thing that I remember when Chevy and when you were in with the Fan 960, Sportsnet 960, the Fan.
Yeah.
You were always interviewing and rubbing elbows with the Flames, the Stampeders, any team that came through town. You've seen it all. You've been there. You've interviewed everybody. People relied on your takes going into seasons, into games. But you know what? Along the way, you found the time for these, two goofballs that you invited onto your show that one Friday, Football Friday. And
at the corral.
At the corral.
During indoor motorcycle racing, where we all got high off the fumes of the gasoline because they didn't vent the building.
Yeah, maybe the being high off the fumes might have been the reason why you gave us a shot. But you gave us a segment or two.
Quite honestly, it was an interest. I'll never forget it because you guys sat there. We were literally up in the press box in the corral, and it was, the dirt was just dusty and dirty because they had motocross racing in there, so the dirt was kicking up. And I remember you two guys just patiently waiting, and you came on, and you guys had right from the get-go, you had an enthusiasm for it. Working with the Stampeders at that time was, there you go. That's more recent though. That's still this
all we
series
had
of webs and internet and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, back when you guys were kind of breaking into this, I mean, it was back when, the Stampeders really were just the best group to be around. Like, you guys did interviews, you guys promoted the product, you had fun with it. And you guys right from the get-go showed an enthusiasm. And I wasn't going to get in your way. I mean, you can see right from the get-go, all I'm going to do is hold it up. So I just got the hell out of the way, and you guys invented 300-pound poetry, which to this day, I still remember coming down to the McMahon Stadium after practice just to record that.
Well, I remember, I'm going to tell you, first of all, I remember when Sheldon and I first got to start, and I said, Rob, we should have a show. And you're like, well, what's the name? And right out the spot, we're like, Chevy and Nasty. And you're like, okay, next segment's yours. And I remember that. I'll never forget. We were playing the Ottawa Renegades. Their running back was Josh Ronick, and Kerry Joseph was a quarterback. And we went for a full segment talking about chasing Kerry Joseph and stopping Josh Ronick, and then went from there. And the 300-pound poetry, I'll never forget. We were in the basement of the Saddle Dome. And I said, hey, guys, I got this idea. How about we do a poem where we recap last week's sporting events? And you both looked at me like I was absolutely nuts. They're like, oh, Chevy, why don't you write one? And then we'll see if we could do it sometime. And I was like, well, it just so happens. And I pulled it out. You guys looked at me, and I was like, where can we record it? And you're like, no, you guys got to go live. And I remember Sheldon looking at me, we're going live with this. And that's where it started. But yeah, thank you for giving us our start. But
I'm going to say one last thing.
You're all welcome, I guess. It's not so much you two; it's everybody that's watching this right now. I'm responsible for that. That's a heavy burden.
You rewrote the media game. You were so far ahead of your time, because not only were you bringing on athletes to have shows, giving up your own time, but that translates into the future of all these podcasts that you see all over the place just a few years later. You always push us on, make sure you get on Twitter and do stuff. I was and write blogs. I was always horrible for that. But you also had this bit that I remember, the talking goalie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's TikTok, man. You invented the material for TikTok, broadcasting a game live with your goalie equipment on.
I've never seen a dime for that. That actually is not the exact way it happened. This all lays at the feet of two people, and that's Perry Berezan and Colin Patterson, Flames alumni who for many years during the 90s and early 2000s in Calgary ran an event for kids sport called the Pond SO 3-on-3 Pond Hockey. And they would bring players who played one game, 1,000 games, it didn't matter, and they'd bring them together for a 3-on-3 tournament. And it's funny you say about how I was kind of cutting edge. I'm content to this day that if it wasn't for the SO 3-on-3 Pond Hockey tournament, 3-on-3 overtime probably wouldn't have happened. There was enough general managers during the lockout in 2005 that played in that tournament. Coaches, guys like Craig McTavish were playing. There's all kinds of people that came through it. So I think people, were exposed to it there, and they just said, hey, we want to promote the game against the Calgary media. We know you're a goalie. Do you mind doing play-by-play at the same time? And I said, sure. Why wouldn't I? And we did it with the media, and I'll never forget. It was at Olympic Plaza downtown across from City Hall. And I got an Oilers practice jersey and I put that on. So I went straight, right into villain and heel and, played it up, and we had a ton of fun. And, Perry said, well, why don't you come to the actual event? And, you won't play, but you can dress and you can do play-by-play for, for some of the games. And Kelly Kirsch, who will come up a number of times in this conversation, said, sure, we'll put it on the radio. So I went down there, was fully geared up, but I believe it was Rick Wamsley that was playing for the Flames, and Ben Wamsley didn't play for the Flames anymore, and I got put in. And it was on the radio, and I was doing play-by-play, and I want to say it was the Toronto Maple Leafs alumni. So Mike Krushelnyski was one of the guys that came in on me. And then, we did a little bit more. It grew from there, but it's to me, this was always about giving people something different. This was always about going to places that not everybody was going to, and things that they couldn't do. And I just love trying the technology and seeing if it could be done.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job at that, Rob. And again, Jamin, one of our loyal listeners, says Rob has the most Flames knowledge literally possible. And a lot of